Hello, welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn, and I have a video to share with you today featuring the lovely Cheerful Daisies bundle, and this card, which was one of the cards we had at our class. We had our last class today, so I'm just dialing up my so I can see if you can see the video, to see what you can see. All right, so this is the card I'm showing with you today, which is a tent fold card, which means it stands on your coffee table or on your mantelpiece and stuff. And there's room to write on the back, and then a lovely design on the front featuring the Cheerful Daisies bundle of the Cheerful Daisies dies and the Cheerful Daisies stamp set. I've had a ton of fun making lots of projects with the Cheerful Daisies suite. I probably should have brought them over to show you, but here's our project that I have to share with you today. Now, I have done some of the stamping and die cutting already. I've got one still to die cut, a whole bunch of leaves there. That's why I did it, because there's a lot of leaves for the project. All right, I just make sure I've got everything out of my envelope. I've changed the label to make this one a happy birthday card. But I've got Lost Lagoon for my base. Now, this is basically your standard card size, but I've changed the scoring a little bit to enable me to have this little zigzaggy fold at the bottom, and then you've got your tent fold there. So I can't actually remember. Normally you would fold it at 10.5. I think it's 7.5 or 8.5 centimeters. And then, so 8.5 centimeters, 17, and then 18.5 and a 20 centimeters that you score. Okay, so 8.5, 17, 18.5, and 20. And then you've got your little zigzaggy fold there ready for your stand. And I'm just going to use a little bit of tear and tape on that last little tab there, because it's nice and strong, easy to use. Burnish the edge with my fingers there and just peel the back off, and then close my front over, and there you go. That's the card complete. All right, I'm using, so that is Lost Lagoon. I'm using it with Pretty Peacock. Now, on my card here, I've added a little bit of white ink. When you emboss your I've used the lovely, really lovely exposed brick folder to create that lovely little texture there. And to highlight that texture, I've added actually a little bit of, I'll just get a piece of scrap paper in here to do this, a little bit of white ink to highlight the design. Now, I'll show you how it looks on both sides. So when you emboss a piece of cardstock, one side is embossed and the other side is debossed. And actually there's there is a difference between how both of them show off. Oh, that's a bit dark, isn't it? Show off the design. So this one I've done on the top, and I'm not sure if you can see that. It will look fine when it's got the daisies on it. And then on the other side, when you add your ink, it shows a bit more of the actual brickwork. Just gives it basically a lovely grungy look to your textured cardstock. Okay, so that's enough of that. And let's have a look, see which side we like better. I think I like this one this time. So I'm going to add that onto my copper clay background. I'm just going to put my seal on the copper clay bit because it's a bit tricky trying to add adhesive to an inked surface. So there you go. That's my piece there, ready for the front of my card, and I can add that all ready to go. And the important thing to remember with this though is that I only want to add seal or any adhesive just to that line there. You don't want to add any at the top because that's exposed because of the nature of the card. It has that lovely little extra lip that stands up over the top for a bit of fun and something a bit different. There we go. So there's the front of the card. While I'm sticking, I can stick my copper clay mat on the back, and then we'll do some stamping using that lovely Cheerful Daisies stamp set. Okay, so that's all my card assembly done. Let's stamp. And to turn this over, so I'm using wild wheat and Stampin' Off just to make it a little bit lighter. So I'll stamp off and then stamp on my card. Stamp off on my card. There we go. Stamp off. And I might add one more up here. There we go. So that's all leaving, make sure I'm leaving space in the center for the writing. And then for the center of my daisies, I'm going to use copper clay again, same as the cardstock, with this larger daisy center stamp on the stamp set, and add that in the center of all of these. And on the front of the card, I've actually added a little bit of copper clay to the centers of my flowers using a blending brush. So if I just, without re-inking it, I'm just going to add a little bit more color there just to finish them off. And finally, for the leaves, Pretty Peacock. And these colors are all so dark and rich in color, but they look lovely, I think, with the very vanilla cardstock. So I'm just going to put some leaves down there, and a leaf there, maybe another one in between these flowers, and a couple of leaves down there. There we go. So that's my writing panel all stamped. There's lovely rich. So wild wheat, copper clay, and Pretty Peacock. Those colours actually were inspired by the Fresh as a Daisy Designer Series paper. When you look at the Designer Series paper, there's a whole bunch of colours, including all of the new in colours, which is where the copper clay and the wild wheat come from, and Pretty Peacock as well. Okay, now as I said, I've got some already done. Oh, I've got one, I've still got to die cut, so I'll get my die here. Better bring in my little die cutting machine. And my platform number 1, die cutting clear mat number 2, cardstock and die, and then my second cutting mat over the top, the other number 2, and then I just wind that through. And there's my flower done. Just pop you guys out of the way there. And start sticking my beautiful flowers onto the front of my card. So I've got some, oh no, hang on. I've just remembered I've got to stamp my greeting, haven't I? The lovely happy birthday. I'll just put some dimensionals on the back of my flowers here. And I'll do those leaves in a minute. Let's stamp happy birthday onto here using copper clay. And I think I have to find my happy birthday stamp out of Cheerful Daisies. You see which ones have been my favourites and which ones have been well used. Thank goodness it does not detract from stamping the image at all. Sometimes it actually helps having the stained surface, because then I can see exactly where I'm lining up. There we go. Wishing you the brightest birthday. Now I can add some dimensionals to the back of that one as well. 1, 2. And then on these guys, I think I can fit these ones. I was thinking I might use mini dimensionals, but these ones will work as well. There we go. But that will just make it easier when I'm putting it all together. I can just peel the back off them and then tuck them in behind my flowers where they will go. Okay, that's all done. Let's get our card in here. And I might put my large flower on first so that I know where I'm going here. Pop you over there. And then my greeting. And I've actually cut an extra flower for this card than there is here for my original. So pop you there. So I've got this one. I think I will add it. And maybe this one here. Or do I need one over there? I might put you over there underneath. There we are. Just there. And then this one up here. And then my leaves. And they, because I've used dimensionals, I've got plenty of space to just tuck them in underneath my flowers. And they can just peek out all around the greeting. Oops, underneath there. One there. That one's gone on the floor somewhere. I'll have to find that later. And then I might add one over here, just behind this little flower here. No, that's not working for me. This side maybe. There we go. Okay, as you can see on this one here, I've added some glossy dots, but in actual fact I've run out of all of those lovely in colour glossy dots. I've loved them so much. So on this card I'm going to add some pastel sequins, and I have plenty of them loitering around because I bought a few of them just recently. And another one up there, and there we go. So, different version of the white ink on the brickwork, and an extra flower and different sequins, different dots. Which one's your favourite? The original or the new one? Let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye now.